and if they are able to join in, we'll catch them up. So welcome everybody. Happy hot Wednesday, hot and humid Wednesday. Thank you for meeting today. We have our board meeting tonight, and it looks like it's a full agenda. So I'll try to be as brief as possible today. Of course, I'm here if our conversation extends. I'm all yours. Did everybody have a chance to review our minutes from last time? Yep.
Make our motion to approve.
We've got a motion to approve by Keith.
I second.
Second by Phil. Thank you. All those in favor, raise your hand.
Aye.
Aye. Okay, minutes approved. Thank you. Review of the quarterly programming and events list. Now, is this, Jessica, I noticed when the agenda came out, there was spring talking points and then new ones were sent today or yesterday.
Yeah, so your original email had your agenda and your prior minutes, and then the talking points were sent out Monday.
Oh,
Recently.
okay. Well, okay, thank you. Then I think I'm more organized than I was. Okay.
Yes, I have your spring talking points to discuss.
Yes, okay. Shoot, go ahead.
I will share my screen so you can see it as we chat about it. And I'm gonna increase the size. Okay, can everyone see? Is that the font big enough? Okay,
Yeah,
good.
fine.
So this particular quarter, we're focusing on three main areas. The last one is a little chunkier and it's got a lot of pieces to it. So I'll zoom through the first two sections and then we'll really spend some more time on the third one. Of course, the first thing that we really want to focus on is Canopy because it is finally live and because it's grant funded. So we're hoping to get a lot of good data and user information through this grant process to see if this is something that makes sense for us to try and fund beyond the grant, which expires at the end of September. If you haven't had a chance to play on Canopy yet, it is a streaming video service that has a number of different categories of materials on it that people can watch for free on behalf of your library. It's got kids accounts, including things like Sesame Street. It has great courses, and it's got a number of documentaries and really wonderful films that you can do. It's not a lot of TV shows, it's mostly films. If you are watching the general content that's available, you get 5 play credits a month. So you can watch 5 movies, or if you are watching a TV show, some of them a season counts for 1 play credit. For some of them, there's some different maths that they make happen. But for both Great Courses and Canopy Kids, there's unlimited streaming available for any user, and it doesn't matter per month. You just get to enjoy as you go along. The kids section does allow for some parental controls. So if parents would like to moderate what their kids can watch on there, that is absolutely available as well. I can share that I have used up my 5 credits, so I hope you enjoy if you go in and take a poke around. We are very thankful to the Library of Virginia for sharing some of the American Rescue Plan Act dollars with local library systems, which allowed us to fund this through the end of summer. We have asked our branch locations who are doing programming around this. So if they're doing a video series or if they're doing a collaborative event that includes videos, we're asking them to kind of connect the dots for us and make sure that they utilize this and report on it so that we can include that as part of our grant process. But really, we're just trying to publicize it a little bit more now. We did a soft launch of this back in February. In March, we really started rolling out a little bit more aggressive marketing. And now that we've hit spring and we know that there don't appear to be any kinks in how to utilize it, we're really going to start sharing it more on social media and things like that. Keith, I see you raised your hand.
Yes, thank you, and good afternoon, everybody. I've gone on Canopy and looked around and seen different content, but what would you say is one of the main selling points for Canopy if I were to explain it to a constituent or a supervisor in a couple of sentences?
Sure.
Yeah, the uniqueness of it, I guess.
Absolutely. So one of the things that I appreciate the most about Canopy, I myself as a consumer already pay for things like Hulu and Netflix, which are consumer content. It's regular TV shows, it's things that you might not pay for cable with. With Canopy, we're trying to backfill a need. We're not trying to replace things that people might already be paying for themselves. Instead, we're trying to find a niche service that provides international documentaries, great courses series, or kids programming that you can get through things like PBS, and make those all available in one space. The goal is not to pay $1 million a year for the library to give every resident Hulu or a similar streaming video app. Instead, it's to find something that they couldn't get somewhere else.
Very good, thank you.
And
Brent?
yeah, I would amplify that in that I went looking and found a movie of a book that my book group had read, and the book was really dull. And so I thought, well, let me watch the movie. The movie was really old, but it was a young Colin Firth and Kenneth Branagh. So it was fun to see them, but it was still dull, which it was okay. But it was, I was really happy to find the movie version, because sometimes, if you read something, you're like, I'm not getting into this. What's wrong with me? And, it just was a dated kind of story. It was like a World War I shell shock guy who came to a little village to examine a painting on the roof of their church. And okay, a lot of action. Anyway, it's not something that you're going to find on Netflix or any place.
Yeah.
So I agree with what you're, just to amplify what you were saying, Jessica.
Thank you, Fran. I don't think you sold the book or the movie, but I do think you
No,
sold
you don't need to see it, but unless
Yeah,
you
I have
really
to
like.
say, Fran, maybe the upside of your story was that you didn't pay for it.
There you go.
That's right. Yeah, that
Yes.
was the most. You're right.
Yes. Yeah. So we're really hoping to make some ground on utilization of this service, because we haven't really been promoting it strongly. Most of the people who found it have done so kind of incidentally. They've either had been looking around and, Canopy tells you if you are in a service area that provides it, or they stumbled upon it. But now that we're hitting March, we're really going to start promoting it quite a bit stronger. So I anticipate that we're gonna get some good usage out of this and some happy customers. Suzanne, I saw your hand up.
Yeah, I did notice I was searching for something in the catalog the other day and several Canopy movies came up.
Yes.
And that was the first I'd seen that. So
Yes, Canopy is integrated with our catalog for the most
Cool.
part. I'm sure there are some exceptions out there. And so far, we haven't gotten a ton of questions or usage from that, but I think it will continue to gain steam. The other thing I wanted to share about this is, much like other streaming services, items come onto the platform and come off of the platform. So if you see something that you're interested in, be sure to utilize it and to watch it, because we can't guarantee how long something will be in Canopy's accounts before it cycles off and something new comes onto it.
Okay.
The next area that we want to highlight for these quarterly talking points is, it may seem very early, it is only April, but summer reading is coming down the pike. June 10th is when we kick off the summer reading adventure. This year's theme is Dive into Oceans of Possibilities. So there's going to be, as you come into the space and you see the displays that branches will have, you'll see a lot of ocean themes and blue colors and aquatic wildlife. We do have participation available for many age ranges. It's for really everyone at this point. We've got separate programs for preschool, school age, teen, and adults. So trustees, sign on to the challenge, come read some books, enjoy it. And there's two ways you can participate this year. You can log time reading, or you can do themed challenges and activities. So we'll have more information on that as we get closer to June. And as you sign up for the adult summer reading adventure. Excuse me. Like with many of our prior variations of this, there are prizes in different categories that you can win coupons for. You'll see some of them listed, including things like Washington Nationals tickets, entries to local historical spaces, programs and events with Park Authority, free food and snacks, many, many, many fun things. So we're excited. This is our first summer reading program, really in 2 years, that we're getting back to some in-person programming and events. There's a link on there that you can see some of the events that are already listed. We do plan to have some virtual events and some in-person events mirroring what we have going on right now, so that people who are more comfortable can continue to do things virtually. And for some of those events that it really makes sense to have in person, like the Bubble Guy, where it's like a big group of kids and you do big bubbles around them. You really can't do that virtually. It's not the same experience. So we're going to have a lot of great stuff going on this summer. The program runs June 10th through, gosh, middle of August. So we'll have lots more to talk about with this as we get a little bit closer. Does anyone have any questions about the summer reading adventure as we start spring? Okay. So the next second, oh, I'm sorry, go ahead.
I'm so sorry. I'm sorry.
No.
One thing just came to mind. If you signed on, if you joined Beanstalk or last summer or whatever the last challenge was,
Yes.
is it the same? You're just the same thing. You've already done that, or
No, it's a new challenge.
Okay.
So you might still have an app in Beanstack, but you would sign up for the 2022 summer reading adventure. Yes.
Thank you.
We're not going to let you count last year's.
No,
for this
just wondering if it was
one.
like the same, if it was the same, like whatever, but yeah. Okay, thank you.
You're welcome. So the last section, like I mentioned, has a couple of big things in it, and it's really themed around our continuation of the year of literacy, specifically the month of May, which is Environmental Literacy Month for us. We've got some great programs queued up, and I'll let you look through some of those through the link that talks about them. But the second page really has the information I really want to talk to you about. So the first is actually the third bullet in, which is a program that we're heavily featuring called I'll Miss Coffee and Chocolate the Most. How about you? And it's an author event virtual from Dr. DeMoss, and he's going to be talking about the impacts of climate change on the foods and products that we have all come to enjoy and rely upon over the growth of our species. I'm fascinated, and I think many people will be tuning in just to learn a little bit more about how even just minor climate change factors are really affecting the way that our crops are produced and the way that we live our lives. So that is our keynote author event for this particular month. You'll also see in the first bullet there that some of our branches are participating collaboratively with the Park Authority for the 2022 City Nature Challenge. We have participated in past years, and this is a program where we ask residents in Fairfax County to use the iNaturalist app, and you get to compete in a couple of different challenges throughout the month to really connect you with nature and the outdoors. It was quite fun. We have some events that go along with it, but there's an actual challenge you can participate in where it leads you through things like finding different things out in nature and taking pictures of different plants you might see. And it's a good way to get kids in particular outdoors and in nature that kind of gamifies the whole process. The biggie, though, is the last bullet here.
Wait, can I ask a question on the park?
Of course. Yeah.
Did somebody contact the city parks department to get them involved?
I can double check. I'm not sure.
If not, it would be nice.
Yeah, sure.
Okay.
I would be happy to see if we have already done that, and if not, to reach out.
Thank you.
Yeah, of course. The big thing that we have planned tentatively for launch in May, but if not in May, very soon after, you all know that we have a growing collection in our library of things, which are non-traditional library collections. For years now, we've circulated thermal cameras that people can check out, so you can check and make sure that you're not leaking heat out of your house. We circulate history collections like our Civil War kits so that you can understand some of the pieces of local history here. We have collaborated with the Library of Virginia, and we circulate nature backpacks, which include free passes to Virginia state parks, as well as items that you might use with your family as you are out in nature. And in prior years, we even did giveaways of LED light bulbs in collaboration with the county's Energy Action Fairfax group to try and transition people into that LED light bulb space. So this year, we had hoped to do it for Earth Day, didn't quite make it. So for May, we're planning to launch what we're calling conserve kits. If you think of a big hard fabric toolbox kit, we're going to be filling up these with different items, both one-time use items and evergreen items that people can check out all at once and take home and use to check both the efficiency and effectiveness of different household items and spaces. So for example, in that kit, we will have those little laser temperature readers, so you can check and see, similar to the thermal cameras, if you are leaking heat out of vents or spaces. It includes a moisture reader, so that if you've had a water leak in your house, you can see if there's moisture beneath, say, your drywall or your hardwood floors. It includes this really weird tiny caulking gun. So it's, instead of like the really long ones where you insert the tube into it, it is actually, it's about this big and it splits the tube in half, but it comes with caulk as well. So you can go and reseal different parts of your plumbing areas or your bathrooms. It includes socket gaskets. So if you've ever had a light switch that you can feel cold air coming behind, as a disposable piece, you just get a socket gasket so you can close that up and no longer have cold air coming to your house. Some of the other disposable items include things like they'll come with a 3-pack set of temporary, they're the things that go on your windows so that you don't have as much light coming in, so you can temper the color coming in. So you're not using as much heating in your house because it's not it's not necessary. And there are a number of other items that are going to be a part of this kit. So the plan is that people will be able to check this out. And in some ways, they'll be able to check and see if they need to make larger fixes in their home because it's not as energy efficient. But in other ways, they'll be able to make fixes right then that will have an immediate impact on both their energy bills and hopefully their happiness in their homes. We're pretty excited about these. We think they're going to be incredibly popular. And to start off, we'll be circulating them from 5 locations. We've got, I think, 20 of these to start with. And 20 was about all that we could get with the current supply chain issues. So we're going to start with that and assess both interest, hold lists, and where we might want these to final live if we're able to expand the roster of them that we have available. So I will send more information to the library board about these when we have a final launch date, but that is our kind of our big push in the month of May, connected to Environmental Literacy Month. I think that is everything in the list. I'd be happy to talk about.
I have a question.
Last one. Yeah.
Jessica, it's Brian, sorry.
Hi.
I was muted. I muted myself. I just wondered about the prior Library of Things kits. When they first come out, they're very, very popular. Does that popularity continue, or are they just kind of forgotten about over time? And I don't mean by staff, I mean by people.
No, some of it, I was going to go and do a quick catalog search for the thermal cameras, but I'll do that later. It depends on the item. So the thermal cameras, for example, remain incredibly popular, and most of those still have a hold list. And so you're never going to find one just sitting on a shelf.
Right.
The nature backpacks, it depends on the time of the year. We get a surge in interest of those during spring break and during the summer, but during the fall and the winter, they're certainly not as popular. And for some of the educational kits, that also has more popularity during the school year. So it really depends on what's in them and what people are interested in. We are looking at further expanding the Library of Things over the next fiscal year for some community specific kits. There was one location that wants to do some science kits because they have a science themed high school right across the street from them. And they wanted to make sure that those devices were available for students out of school time. And those ones I'm anticipating will have more interest and usage during the school year. Yeah.
Thank you.
Yeah, you're welcome. Other questions or comments? Keith.
Yes, hey, I really like the Library of Things platform, I guess, and I'm excited about this one-stop shop for energy efficiency, particularly because of this month. But in addition to that, do we have a complete list of all the Library of Things that we do? Because I'd like to circulate that a bit too. We're not just books and audio and video, but we are, these other things. So I'm just curious if I can a list.
Don't know off the top of my head if we have a handy dandy one sheet page list, but maybe.
This is Erin. Can I jump in here?
Absolutely.
Hi. So that's a
Erin.
great question. I also don't know of a handy dandy list. There is, I think, a way to search it in the catalog, but I wanted to jump in because our Summer Branch Out feature, and Summer Branch Out will be a print product in support of Summer Reading Adventure. That feature is busting library myths. Just like the one a couple seasons ago was busting ebook myths, and that was pretty popular and helpful, I think. So one of the myths is, libraries just have books. So we'll be addressing that. And obviously that story will be in print in Branch Out. So we can certainly give you extra copies, and please give them to everybody. we could maybe turn that into a one pager as well, if that's helpful. And then of course it'll be online for sharing. But we're absolutely highlighting Library of Things items in that.
I have
think it
a
would
follow-up
be-
to that.
I think it'd be useful.
Oh, Keith and then Brian.
Oh, sorry. Go ahead.
Yeah, I apologize. I just had a quick follow-up to the branch out. That must be an award-winning magazine because it is great every single time it comes out.
Mhm.
I mean, so I expect nothing but the best for what's coming out this summer. That's all.
Well,
That's
thank
my
you.
comment.
Yeah.
Thank you.
No, I was just saying, I think that'll be very useful to be able to highlight a library of things. And since, Jessica, in your answer to my question a little while ago, you said they were sort of seasonal, but it would be neat to, over time, bring it forward. Like, okay, the nature backpacks are popular these times of year. So a month or two before, let's highlight that on the library page or something. See what I mean? The educational stuff, maybe towards the end of the summer, saying, well, you may not want to go back to school, but you're going to, and here's the Library of Things kit for that. So, you know, I mean, it's just some sort of a thing that reminds people we've got these things, like Keith said it, so they realize that we aren't just books. More than, and believe me, the branch out's a great way to do it, but after that branch out's over, there's another one, another one, another one, and people forget. Also, people move in. So.
Yeah, well, that is an excellent
Mhm.
comment. And as we continue to grow those ephemeral, non-traditional collections, it does make a lot of sense to ensure that we've got a good holding place for them so that people know where they are and when they're available. And when, you know, if you're thinking of picking up a nature backpack for the summer and there's a wait list on it, it would have been nice to have known about it a little bit earlier. The same way that during the holiday season, all the holiday books are out and maybe you should have put it on hold 3 weeks ago. Yeah. Other questions or comments?
Phil,
Phil, hi.
we have a lot of these, and you know, I'm asking sort of a dumb question, but like, we know about it, but how do we get this out? Like this, you know, conserve kit, you know, how do people, you know, find out about this? Or is there some way, maybe what I'm asking, you know, that we could get this information disseminated, maybe in a wider format that it is disseminated in?
Absolutely. I'll talk a little and then I'll be quiet so that Erin can share more about it, but we would love your assistance in spreading the word about these. So when we have our marketing suite ready to go with these, when we've got social media messages and when we have flyers and when we can spread it out to you so that you can help us share the word, we would love that. And we often, when we're launching a new event or program or service like this, we do kind of our traditional marketing pushes where we put it out on social media, we update our website, we share things with our board offices, we get it in the county's news link. But Erin and her staff have also done a very nice job at reaching out to local media to see if they're interested in doing their own news articles on this, either via video or we've done some podcasts or, you know, articles that they put out. Erin, do you have anything additional to add to that one?
The only thing that I would add to that one is that unlike with Canopy, where we, you know, tens of thousands of cardholders theoretically could be using it at one time, we will at most be serving 20 people at one time with the conserve kit. So we want to promote, but we also don't want to end up in a situation where we have 10 holds on each one, because that's just going to make people frustrated. So for me, it's kind of a tight, kind of difficult line to walk of making sure anybody who might find it useful knows about it, but you know, not pushing it so hard that we shoot ourselves in the foot and have angry library users.
Excellent point. We want some people to know about it, but not all the people to know about it.
Exactly.
Well, and I think with something like the Library of Things, I mean, you're initiating something completely new and different each time. And so I do think there needs to be that, let's find out, like dip the toe in the water, find out, is there demand? And then, you know, then you'll know, is it worth getting, you know, breaking through supply lines and getting 20 more? And I mean, Erin, your marketing team is just so professional and top notch. I feel like every time someone has a question, about, well, how do people know about this? There are 8 different answers. There's just a whole, like you said, a suite of marketing instruments and devices for getting the word out. So,
Well, and while I'm thinking about it, I'm gonna plunk something in the chat. There we go. So the Oakton Library is currently assessing what community interest might be for their local Library of Things collection. And we have a survey that's up that you can take just to, if you live near Oakton or you're interested, to help us assess what might be a good collection, because we have ideas about it. For example, the Tyson's Library for many years now has talked about having a tool lending library. For many residents in that area, if you live in an apartment or you live in a condo, you may not need access to all of these tools at any given point in time. You don't really want to go and buy one. It makes a lot of sense to have more of a sharing economy space where you can come and use it once, give it back, and then someone else can use it. But that's just an idea that we have. We don't actually know that that is something that residents have asked for. So Oakton is asking these questions now to try and get a better kind of feed on whether or not that's something that they're interested in.
mhm. Cool. Thank you for
I
sharing
have
that.
I have a question. I have 2 questions. My chat seems to be disabled. I don't know why, but that's one
We're
question.
mean people. We disabled chat. I don't know, Fran, I'm sorry.
That's enough out of you, Fran. So my question is, will the repair cafes ever come back?
Oh, those were fun. Yes. For folks
Yeah.
who don't know about those, pre-pandemic, we
Yeah.
did a series of repair cafes at a bunch of locations where we had experts or craftspeople who
Mhm.
were on site and could help you fix stuff. Fran was on site and helped us with jewelry repair. Am I remembering right?
Yeah.
Yes. We had people who were electricians who could help you
Yeah.
with fabrics.
I got a lamp
Yeah.
repaired. Yeah.
It was very, very cool space and very popular.
Mhm.
I haven't thought about that in years. I will have to ask. Thank you.
Yeah, because I have a lamp that's getting fritzy, and I remembered, oh, the last time I took that to the one at Fairfax City where I was also working, and the person fixing the lamp said, if you can just run to the hardware store, which is right near Fairfax City, and get this little thingamabob, we'll fix it. I'm like, okay, you're on, and that was
Thingamabob
great.
achieved.
I got it. Yeah. And it was fun. I mean, doing jewelry repair, because it was must have been right around this time, because a woman brought in a necklace that was all messed up. And so I fixed it for her, and she said, I'm so happy I can wear this for Easter now. It was really amazing.
Aw. Yeah, those were really, and all kudos to Margaret Kosich, the library's IT director. She conceptualized those a couple of years ago based off of a series that another library system had done, and really did all the legwork in getting volunteers together to make it happen. So I will reach out to her and see.
Okay.
Yeah.
Thanks.
You said you had 2 things?
Well, that my chat is disabled.
Oh,
But that
sorry.
doesn't stop me from talking, does it? No.
And it never should. It never should.
Okay, any other questions for Jessica or Aaron about our talking points? Awesome. Okay, are there any other items that committee members would like to raise today for our meeting? Okay. I have a question, which is probably for a Fran and Jessica question. I believe this is our meeting for the quarter, right? So the next outreach committee meeting would be in the July, August, September timeframe. Is that right?
So your talking point, we're a little late on this one because we had scheduling issues. So your
Right.
next meeting will likely be sometime around mid to late June.
Okay, great.
Yeah.
Okay. So next meeting will be sometime in June. And thank you, everybody, for your flexibility in scheduling our past couple meetings. Phil?
Last night in the testimony, Fran addressed the ebook situation. And I'm just kidding because I had a conversation with them afterwards. I had asked Senator Marston to introduce a bill similar like they had in Maryland. And this year, they didn't want to do anything in the General Assembly because there was a lawsuit outstanding. He said he had talked to the Attorney General, but he told me that if the lawsuit that's outstanding would be resolved, and we would want to ask them to put some type of legislation in, he would consider doing it for us. My, so to speak, argument to him was, not argument, if in every state, this would be more to Jessica directed, if every state or library association, you know, got somebody in their delegation to introduce a bill in the state, I would think that the publishers at some point wouldn't want to have to hire lobbyists. They probably have lobbyists, but be fighting all these battles. And at some point, you know, you get enough stuff hits the fan, you maybe sit down and you try to resolve it. So that was my point. And I'm saying to Jessica that, you know, there is discussion on Capitol Hill, but unfortunately not much gets done there. And I'm not sure how high a priority our library issue is. So, you know, where we can do something about it would be from the state level. And it's unconscionable to me that they can keep getting away with this. So I'm just.
Yes,
suggesting
understood.
Jessica maybe reach out to her counterparts. And
Yeah.
I think if these things are settled, then I think I could, you know, we could, whatever language we come up with, we could probably have somebody get a bill introduced. And
So
at least
part-
try to do our part on this issue.
So part of the committee reports that you all have scheduled for tonight's meeting include one from Gary and the ebook committee. And they have drafted an updated kind of comprehensive document that talks about where different states are. There are currently 8 states that are attempting to move forward legislation on this topic. And Gary's going to speak a little bit further to the fact that part of what some of the national coalitions are recommending right now is pushing as many states as they can to move forward this type of legislation, in part because of what you've noted, but in part also to try and continue to bolster this at the federal level. So there's a requirement to take some action around things like the question about copyright and e-materials. So he'll definitely be talking about that more tonight. And the Virginia Library Association does have this on their short-term to-do list beyond just, you know, what we've talked about with them this year. So yes, and thank you.
Great.
Yeah.
Any other thoughts or comments for today?
I had a question and about the state aid for library from Richmond. Has that been resolved or anything?
No, so
Not yet,
the General
okay.
Assembly closed without approving a budget. So
Mhm.
when they go back,
Oh,
they'll
okay.
have to finalize a budget. So
I think
it's
that's-
still question mark.
I think that's April 26th that they're gonna do that.
Yeah, it's
Okay.
about 2 weeks out.
Yeah, and I saw Saslaw at an event and just said, you know, oh, I sent you a begging letter about state aid, you know. He said, I have no problem with that. So
Yeah, so I had reached out to the Virginia Library Association's legislative committee asking if there had been any kind of feedback or movement, and the answer was, you know, kind of a big shrug because there was a lot of question marks still around a couple of different facets of the budget and how that might play with the library association's request for additional funding. So unfortunately, at this point, there's no answer.
no, yeah, okay.
A
Thanks.
little bit more waiting to do.
Yep.
Yeah.
All right. Any last thoughts? Okay, I think we bought ourselves some free time before the meeting. I know everyone has leisure time on their hands, so
Yeah.
put up your feet and enjoy it. And we will see each other in just a few hours. Looking forward to it. Do we need to adjourn or can we just say
Adjourned.
until later?
Adjourned.
Adjourned. Okay,
Adjourned.
everybody.
See
Thank
you all.
you.
See everyone later.
Thank
Bye-bye.
you.